So in this video, we are going to talk about when we can planning a lesson. Before we doing something, we need to make a planning first, isn't it? Even in a teaching and learning process, we should make a planning first also, and it call it as a lesson plan. Lesson plan is the instructor's roadmap of what students need to learn and how it will happen and be done effectively during class time, and it is for successful learning. Well, lesson plan is an important priority in the learning process because in this process, the teacher pours all their thoughts to make important decisions for the success of learning. In this way, the teacher will create various kind of ideas based on an understanding of the needs, problems, interests of students and the content of the learning itself. And when we can planning lesson, so planning lesson or making lesson plan must be ready at least 1 week before the beginning of academic year, and it should be practical, useful, economical in terms of time, and can strengthen educational programs. However, it still depends on the class level and learning materials as well as the curriculum that has been determined by the institution. The next is who we can planning lesson with. So the first one is with teacher we shared our class with, and the second one is other colleges including more experienced ones such as mentor, and the third is institutions. In planning lesson, most of the teachers are involved in yearly lesson planning, term lesson planning, unit lesson planning, weekly lesson planning, and daily lesson planning. Yearly lesson planning and term lesson planning usually involve listing the objective for a particular programs, while unit lesson planning is a series of related lessons around a specific theme such as family, environment, and etc. And daily lessons is the end result of a complex planning process that includes the yearly, term, unit, and weekly plans. A daily lesson plan is a written description of how students will move toward attaining specific objectives. It describes the teaching behavior that will result in student learning. And the next is, here is a quote from an expert about planning lesson. He said that learning has nothing to do with what the teacher covers, but learning must be done with what students achieve. It means that when preparing a planning lesson or lesson plan is what students are going to learn. It's about what students going to achieve and accomplish tomorrow. And it's not what the teacher is going to cover tomorrow, because the role of the teacher is not to cover knowledge, but it's to uncover the knowledge. And Richard said that lesson plan or planning lesson should address the following steps. First, concept or objective to be thought. It's about which tells the students what they will learn. And the second is time blocks. It's like an approximate time expected to be devoted to the lecture. And the third is procedures to be used for instructional design. And the next is materials needed both for the students and the teacher. So it's about the material itself. And the fifth is independent practices or students' time on task. And the last one is evaluation, applications, and student understanding. For example, like main questions to be asked by the teacher to check students' understanding. So after make planning in a lesson plan, then when you can apply your planning in lesson plan. It's just the same as when you put in your theory into practice. So after you arrange your planning in a lesson plan, you have to implement it into your class and see what your students' response. You have to evaluate and it is suitable with your students or not, suitable with the material or not, with the level or not, and which part should be improved. Then that's all, and see you on the next video.